He's going to ring the bell. Come up, read for us.
A new year's beginning, our waters now we bring, for mixing and making a brand new offering. And just like us from near and far, each separate in its way, the mingling creates the one we celebrate today. A new year's beginning, our waters now we bring, for mixing and making a brand new offering. And just like us from near and far, each separate in its way, the mingling creates the one we celebrate today. A new year's beginning, our waters now we bring, for mixing and making a brand new offering. Just like us from near and far, each way, the mingling creates the one we celebrate today.
Aren't they wonderful?
Thank you.
Watch your language.
Thank you, Martha, and the singers. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Robert Zabala, and I will be your service associate today, and Gary LaRue will be your program master. Welcome to the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, which is located on occupied ancestral land of the Muskogee Nation and housed in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. We gather here with humility, honoring those who came before us. We gather here seeking something larger than ourselves, a spirituality that will give our lives meaning and the opportunity to contribute to peace and justice in this world. We extend a special welcome to those of you who are visiting or are still getting acquainted with this community, who are looking for a place you can call your spiritual home. We hope you will feel welcomed and accepted here, just as you are. We invite you to join us in our mission to build a welcoming and caring community dedicated to challenging the mind, nurturing the spirit, and transforming the world through the pursuit of truth, love, and justice. If you are new, we invite you to add your name and contact information to our visitor log at the other end, that way, near the greeters, so you can receive our weekly email newsletter. You may also request this online at AUUF.org/visit. We are a very active congregation, so watch the newsletter, order of service, and the website for announcements of activities you may be interested in. Now, as we ring the bell and begin our service, please turn off your phone or other electronic devices. But please leave all pacemakers and hearing aids on. Please rise in body or spirit to join us in our opening hymn, number 188, in the great hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
We're going to do it all in unison at once, and then this side will start, and that side will follow. You'll follow him, you folks follow me. Right now, in unison. Ready, and
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
one more time.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, yet again come.
We light our chalice this morning with these words by Rachel Roth. Welcome. Welcome, you questioners, seeker of truth with a capital T, pilgrims longing for sanctuary, travelers needing harbor from the storm. Welcome, those of you holding on by a thread, determined breakers of the chains of loneliness and isolation. You pushed through your fear because something told you that you deserve to belong. Welcome home. Welcome those who braid ropes again and again. You've been there for our siblings who are just hanging on. You gave them a hand into community and told them they could rest here. Welcome, you who seek spiritual and religious community for your children and grandchildren. You entrust your young people here, and we as a community commit to nurture and respect them. Welcome, children and youth. You give us the gift of your wisdom, your joy, your curiosity, and your trust that we will hold all safe. Welcome, welcome home. How do we make this tender place wider? How do we stretch into a bolder welcome, a radical generation of the heart? Can we imagine ourselves as stewards and ushers, not only into this space, but into our circle of belonging? Can we commit and recommit to being accountable to one another as an anti-racist, anti-oppressive community that centers marginalized voices, that listens to those voices, especially when whatever they're saying is hard to hear? Can we be willing to change? When we break our agreements with one another, can we offer amends? Can we be humble and generous? There is grace enough here. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair, of making things right within ourselves, between us, and with the wider world. This is, in this place, possibility. Welcome home. We also light a candle to acknowledge the suffering in this world. We cry for those individuals and families who have traveled to our southern border seeking a safer and more prosperous life and are separated from loved ones. We also lament the ongoing tragedy in the Middle East, where an eye for an eye is leaving everyone blind. One of the ways that we care for our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. We begin with the silent sharing and invite you one at a time to drop a pebble into our communal bowl. Our musical meditation during our silent sharing is by Andrew. If you have a brief joy or milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation, please come up and use the microphone, and don't bunch up, just go one at a time.
Last night I got my new glasses. They were ordered online and yet they are perfect.
We're facing this way.
I'm Emily Levant, a member of the Congregational Support Committee. And on Friday evening, Judy Collins fell and broke her hip. Can you hear me now? She had surgery on Saturday. She's at EAMC in room 4211. For now, cards and calls after 4 p.m. would be appreciated, short calls. She'd like to keep visits to a minimum for now, but if you do go, please keep it brief. She tires very quickly. On Thursday, she will move to a residential rehab facility in Valley, and we'll send out that information later, the address and everything. But please keep Judy in your thoughts. Oh, and one more thing, Jim's son is here to help with Jim while Judy's away.
And I forgot to mention, if you are joining us virtually, please share your reflections on YouTube. May all the joys, concerns, and milestones this morning, both silent and spoken, be uplifted by this community and our common humanity. The Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is very active and vibrant, with an aspiring mission to make a difference in the world. The members and friends of this fellowship share our time, energy, creativity, imagination, vision, talents, and skills. It's important we contribute financially to provide needed resources beyond our time and energy. This morning, we invite you to contribute as generously as you are able to support our mission. You may donate via PayPal at AUUF.org/donate. If you're writing a check, make your check payable to AUUF. You can drop it in the offering bowl or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, 36831. Please know whether your donation is for your pledge or a general offering. If this is your first time with us, please allow the offering basket to pass by. Your being with us is a gift. The offering will now be received with gratitude.
Our waters combine,
help but make a plug, since I'm also Sunday services, that when you're looking for music and you give Martha enough time, you get something as beautiful as this. Thank you, Martha. All you have to do is Martha, she goes, got it covered. All right, this morning's moment for all ages is presented by Ingathering. So, all young and young at heart, please come on.
Okay, now we're set. Wow, a bumper crop. This is exciting. Oh, here comes a new one. Anyone else? Okay. This is an older crowd. Hello. So y'all have seen this before, the water service here at the fellowship. So what the adults are going to do, or the people who stay, they could be kids at heart. Hello, I was wondering if you were going to come up here. What they do is they come up and they share something that is water related that happened to them. It's usually over the summer, but it could be any time through the year. And then they say a little something. They pour their water into the container there. And if they forgot their water, but they remembered their story, they can take a little bit of water from the pitcher and pour it in. Like I say, it often has to do with travels, but it doesn't have to do with travels. Once I poured a little bit of water from our sink into the container to represent when my little girl was tall enough to turn on the water at the sink by herself. So the water can come from anything that's significant to people, anything that's important. So the choir just sang a beautiful song about the waters combine. You pour two streams of water together, they combine. So I brought in a clear mold here, and just some plain water. Okay, so there's that water. You hopefully can see it in the glass bowl, but now I'm going to pour some more water in from somebody else representing something else. Can you tell the first pouring of water, is it the same or different from the second pouring of water? You can't see the difference. They have combined. They've come together like we do as people at the fellowship. And so that's what the water represents. Our individual experiences coming together and sharing with each other. So I'm wondering if any of you happen to have brought some water with you today. Oh, I see someone reaching in her pocket. Oh, she's answering. Answering a beeper, sorry. Okay, so what I'd like y'all to do. Oh, water. Okay, sure. Okay, there goes Leah. She's getting water. Okay, but you can also save it for later.
I can use it in both places.
Oh, good.
I can combine my waters in many places.
I'm so glad you did. Okay, we're gonna let Laura talk.
So my water represents the lack of rain we've had.
We need rain.
Oh man, somebody really put that on tight. Now we'll trade it. Can you pour your water into here? And if it spills, it's okay. Anna Bay has Anna is an inner and Anna Bay has added her water that she brought in this jar, and she is choosing not to stay in there, which is perfectly okay. Her water has been combined. Do we have more water over here? What? Oh, and I had asked some choir members to sing too, sorry, thank you, Robert. They're gonna sing that little line from the song we just sang during the offertory. So they're gonna sing to celebrate Ingathering, adding her water. And then as you hear the song, you can sing too. All right. Our waters combine, our waters combine. Now's the time our waters combine. All right, anyone else have some water? Looks like water.
So, my mom went on a business trip to Nigeria. That's where this water is from. It's really cool. Yeah. Also, I went to a pool party like a week or two ago, and that was fun. That's water related. and I went with some of the people in this photo, which I just got. And it was where was it? Teen room? Or like the old teen room? Yeah, this was like framed in the old teen room. Teen room. And it's just really cool because it's from a couple years ago, and you can see how everyone's tiny versions. It's fun.
Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to sing it again. Our waters combine, our waters combine. Now's the time our waters combine. Anyone else? And if you didn't bring water, that's okay, because this is a picture of water, and not a picture like Leah's pictures. I was still thinking about that. A picture of water that if you can think of something you would like to share, you can pour a little bit of this water to represent your special water. Anyone? Anyone over there? They have their own little gig going there. Yeah. No one has water from, I don't know, like a horse's straw? No? Or a gymnastic or a new school? Oh gosh, I'm just getting shut out here. So anyone else want to share a story or some water? Now's your chance. Well, we're going to sing the song again anyway, because I'm sure you're thinking about things that could symbolically go in our water bowl.
Note.
Yeah. Our waters combined. I just blanked on the tune. Our waters combine, our waters combine. Now's the time our waters combine. Thank you very much, and that's it. You may go now. Be open to learning. May your words bring clarity to your world. May your hearts know love and your hands do justice as you go your way. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Good to see everyone this morning. Thank you for coming out. Well, if you haven't gotten the gist of what we're doing, we'll go through it one more time. This morning we marked the so-called start of the church year. Actually, the fiscal year started in July, and as Reverend Marty noted last week, summer is kind of midway, so it doesn't feel like it's the fall. So it's hard to say this is the start, but indeed it is. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We follow a tradition here, as you've seen outlined, one that is shared by many Unitarian Universalist congregations across the country. They invite people within the church, the congregation, members and friends, to come forward and pour water into a common bowl and share the meaning it represents in life. As Amy noted, it may reflect a summer trip, a milestone for you or your family, some insight into your values, perhaps a question you're living with, and like a pebble dropped in a pond, your sharing becomes part of the larger story of this faith community. Now, before anyone panics, if you've already panicked, and you forgot to bring water, that's no problem. We have water here, water that's willing to serve as the metaphor for your story. Before we begin the procession and invite you to come forward, I'd like to spend a couple minutes talking a little bit more about the context for this spiritual practice. Historically, many Unitarian churches from the Unitarian side of UU were formed from the communities around universities, and so adopted their calendars. They disbanded for the summer when professors left town for studies abroad, or in some cases, cooler climates. Similarly, churches that are located in cities and suburbs typically follow the K through 12 school year, often shuttering their buildings over the summer months. When the minister was out of the pulpit, families were taking vacation trips, and church volunteers, I'm sure many of you can relate to this, were exhausted and needed time to recharge. Even though the norm is no longer to lock the church doors for the summer does shift the pace of our lives. Whether it's vacation trips, home projects, recharging, or taking risks, as Reverend Marty talked about last week, many of us have been less engaged and less involved these past couple months in the fellowship. Regathering to begin another church year, as we are doing so today, is a natural marker. It's a natural time to catch up with each other's lives. And the idea of drawing our summer experiences together through a ritual that has become tradition transforms our individual experiences into a mosaic of this community. Constructing this ritual around water is logical, reflecting the multiple dimensions of our lives. It can reflect the water we've literally encountered during the summer, oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, rainfall, a garden hose, a kitchen sink, as we heard, even a leaky pipe. Yet it's more than place. Water, through the many forms it takes and the distances it travels, reflects our connection with the earth and the forces shaping it. This was the view of two UUs, Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview, who are credited with creating the first water ritual for a contemporary American UU service. That was November of 1980 for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. As they formulated a service for the gathering, seeking a ritual to give it deeper meaning, they chose water. McDade and Longview said water, quote, spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet, unquote. Carolyn McDade added, quote, water deepens in meaning for us just as water deepens during its long and winding journey to the sea. With this same spirit, we invite you to come forward now with water that represents your summer journey and its meaning, blending it this morning with the water shared by the other travelers of this fellowship. And if you didn't bring water, as you've heard, we have water to share. Come forward anyway. So at this point, I'll invite, I think we have the microphone, we'll turn on, and we'll invite you to come forward and share this meeting as part of our ritual for the 2024-2025 church year.
Since everybody seems scared, I'll start. I mentioned that I have a concern for the lack of rain, but I'm also grateful for the lack of rain because my carport roof leaks terribly bad. And I have all kinds of buckets collecting water in all kinds of places and tarps covering up stuff because I have way too much stuff that's like spread out of the house, and now it's taking up the carport and the front porch. It's pretty soon in the yard, and I guess that's where you have a yard sale. So I'm still grateful because you can't do a yard sale in the rain either. So for the concern, because I'm worried about the plants, like I have a cedar tree or 2 cedar trees. They're looking a little parched, and that's not common.
Hello, I'm Lisa. It's my wife Carter. We brought some distilled, purified nursery water to represent this season of life for us, which has been making bottles, washing bottles, sanitizing bottles, making more bottles for 2 foster babies. One, Luna, we had for 5 months this year, and one we had just for a couple of days, Sol, that didn't have an opportunity to come here yet. But here is our water from this season of our life.
Nice.
This water is a gift from a friend of mine for my birthday last year. It came from Mount Shasta, which is where I was living near there when Whitney and I first met in person, and drinking almost exclusively from the mountain for like a year. It was amazing.
We have 2 wells, both of which have crapped out on us. Fortunately, not at the same time. Also, we have a big garden, which my rain gauge is empty. And so I don't have any water, not simply because I forgot, but because that's been my summer, our summer.
So I have water from Dinius Dog Park, not just for the hundreds of hours I've spent there, but also to represent all of the water that feeds our pets. I do quite a bit of pet sitting in the summer when people are on vacation, and so a lot of my summer is just refilling water bowls, emptying out water bowls, cleaning the water bowls.
So I have some mineral water from a glacier somewhere on this planet, and that brings up 2 topics of concern. One, trying to stay hydrated during these very unbearable summer months, and also the state of our planet and our environment with global warming. So water is our lifeblood. We're 90% water, and this is to basically hold up and cherish what's vital to all of us.
This water is not from, but it's representative of our trip over to the Montgomery Biscuit baseball games 4th of July weekend, which turned out into being really interesting. We done it last year and it was with lots of fun. This year, it was a totally overflow-filled stadium. Luckily, we had seats. And then it got rained out in the 7th inning, so we ended up seeing the fireworks from our hotel room. And the other thing that's, as I listen to people, is our bird bath made by Amy Kaiser, which is not just a bird bath. The deer think it's their personal watering spot. And if you've ever watched a deer suck up water, they can literally empty it just like that.
Well, we had the most excellent adventure. Our family did this past spring after a terrible year last year. We took a family trip to the mountains and valleys of Switzerland and northern Italy to see her family, and I can't describe it. I've been to some beautiful places in my life. Yosemite, Yellowstone, all over the world. This was the best. Put it on your bucket list, go there. And a high point for me was a long bike ride. I actually did this, about 25 miles, right? With a guide all day through the Jungfrau Valley. I hope my German is correct. Near Interlaken and Grindelwald. We went by waterfalls and streams with glacier water, and that's where this came from. And where the dairy cows are sacred. If you have to be a cow, be one in Switzerland. It is unbelievable. I love it. So that was my high point. If I want to talk about Italy or something. Italy was nice.
So the water is from glacier water, like you said, and one of the great things was the water was so clean. As it's coming down, you can collect it and drink it in certain places. So we did, and it was amazing. And you know, it just reminds you not to take water for granted, and you know, it's such a powerful thing. We saw so many beautiful lakes that were so crystal clear blue in Switzerland, and how they take care of their environment was just amazing. And the other thing about this was kind of a mingling of the families. We were in Auburn, son had to fly to meet us, and then daughter had to fly from LA to JFK, so we all met in JFK and then flew together. So we all were able to come together and do the trip, so it was wonderful.
Our metaphorical water represents the brief vacation we had on the St. Lawrence River this summer, where I got to visit with my family and attend the memorial service for a brother-in-law.
I'd like to add that we also saw our two great nephews for the first time. That was fun. And while we were sitting on the St. Lawrence River, the second day, just for a little while, at a little campfire, we were watching loons dive under water and be down there for quite a while, and all of a sudden pop up somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, I had my back to the water at this point, and I heard a kapoosh, and I turned around. It was a hawk, had just gone into the shallow part of the river and grabbed a fish and was flying off with a fish. That was really cool to see.
This is some water from one of my rain catchment tubs that provide breeding ground for 5 different species of frogs and visitation of 3 others. And they had a good year, except the brachyfauna didn't show up. I'm concerned it's the southern edge of their range. They may have gone extinct.
When you retire, you expect that your life will sort of widen out and you'll be doing all sorts of things that you didn't have time to do when you were working. Didn't turn out that way. In fact, you know, my life sort of contracted. But, you know, you play the hand you're dealt. But
before the pandemic, and while I was still, a regular working person, Emily and I would celebrate our anniversary in, of all places, Opelika, and it was not the Golden Cherry Motel. We found a restaurant that we really liked, Cafe 123, and once a year we went there, and sometimes if we were wild and crazy, we went there for a birthday. And then, the pandemic came, and we've not really eaten indoors in restaurants. We always look for places to eat outside. But this year was different. Emily and I said, screw it, let's go back to Cafe 123 for our anniversary. And we went over there. This was in July. And we walked in the door, and there was this waitress named Iris, who pretty much always waited on us, and who we had formed this wonderful relationship. We always chit-chatted. She had this boyfriend and all of that, and I just threw my arms up and said, Iris, and she said, "You're back." It was very touching. So if I had the foresight in July to see forward to the end of August and be Ingathering, I would have brought some water from there, but I didn't. It was just a wonderful moment in an otherwise drab life. So I'm going to put some water in the bowl.
This water is from the glimmering pond behind Bethany House where Camilla Herschel is staying, and we have spent a lot of time there this summer with her. You can't see it in this light, but it was really interesting that it has like a hue of her turquoise, so that's probably something that Robin can explain, but we just wanted to bring this. She can see that pond shimmering from her bed, and it brings us a lot of joy.
Some of you might recall that back in May we adopted an English setter puppy, Birdie May, and we got her in a middle of nowhere south of Asheville, North Carolina, and then afterwards we took her and the girls for a drive and saw some of the beautiful waterfalls and mountains there. We didn't think to collect any water from those, but I'll pour some out representing that. Birdie's sweet and smart and neurotic.
So we did get the same copy of the same photograph. The poised young woman who said, "Back when I was small," that's the same person. So these are fun, right? There's another copy, right? And this is, I just, where did I put my water bottle when I came in? And I went in the kitchen and I found it again. Yes, and it just so happened because I asked Carl to stop at my apartment, and I'll run up and get something because I was thirsty. The awareness, it's like the planet Dune and that stuff, we're going, man, I gotta have the water. And this is one of the gifts from the RE class, and it's got, and it works, and it's got pictures of folks when they were really small, and it's a fond link of being involved with being deployed with the RE class, and you can see some cool stuff you learn from the children.
John Scott
came from the Midwest, and he worried about drought. He must have had some bad experiences. This water came from the spring in the woods in front of our house, which John Scott sold to us about 40 years ago. John Scott had built a small catchment, one about half the size of a bathtub, an old-fashioned footed bathtub. He'd lined it with rocks, and he had built about an 8 by 10 little spring house to contain it. 2 people could sit on concrete triangles jutting from the corners. And you could sit there, screened in walls, and the woods all around you, and be protected from the mosquitoes. Well, Hurricane Heloise came along. Anybody remember Hurricane Heloise? Have you been here that long? Well, it dropped a huge virgin oak tree on the little house and crushed it. But the catchment of spring water is still there and quite lovely, and you can still sit on the concrete seats. And anybody is welcome to come after we have a hard freeze and sit there in front of the little spring water. But I wouldn't go until it freezes hard. A plumber once told me that John Scott believed everyone was guilty until they proved themselves innocent. I'm so glad he sold us that property.
Is this where it goes?
Yep.
This water is from Nigeria, but the symbolic water for my trip to Japan, visiting home. Misha and Leah, our 2 daughters, came with me, and Misha's 2 friends joined as a high school graduation trip. So it just added another layer of joy there. Just last year, I had just a physically very challenging year in terms of the schedule, and I was really exhausted. But just a few weeks of just being away, clear your mind, it just really recharged me. So I'm really grateful.
I learned a lesson not to put your water in your pocket. And I'm taking a risk because this water is from Ghana, and I don't know, next to Nigeria might be a little problematic. But I've been going to Ghana for about 30 years now, working various projects with food insecurity, and health, and so on. But the last couple of years, our team has taken students, and that has added a whole different dimension to what we're doing. Because before, it was more of an interaction between me and someone working in a village or in a health facility or something like that. But now I'm looking at students who are going back, I guess. And just to me, thinking about what's going on in their minds of a return of some sort. And it just, like I said, a whole new dimension to that.
Any reluctance out there, throw caution to the wind.
I asked Olive about things that she likes about the fellowship, and immediately she said the mud kitchen.
She gets a lot of joy. I don't know if you've been lucky enough to have a cup of tea. Delicious. I don't know, your mileage may vary on this, but Olive is getting a lot of use out of each other. And she really enjoys it. So thank you to all who made it happen. Really great addition to the fellowship this year.
May be the first time we've had mud tea added to the water. Thank you all for sharing your water and what it represents of your summer and your broader life. As a faith community, may we acknowledge and support each other's stories, the happiness, the sadness, the challenges, the uncertainty, today and during the coming weeks and months of this new church year. May it be so. Let's join in our closing hymn now, number 318, We Would Be One. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able. Let us join together now as we extinguish our chalice, saying the words, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again." We invite you to stay after the service today for coffee, tea, mud tea, conversation. Connect with the folks you haven't seen over the summer, over the last couple months. But before we do that, we do have a few minutes for spoken announcements. If anyone has an announcement you'd like to call to the attention of the congregation, feel free to come forward and share. Martha.
Okay, as some of you already know, I work at a pharmacy. And as I mentioned before, pharmacists are not getting paid properly. Medicine that costs $600, the pharmaceutical companies have decided, oh, well, you didn't pay $600 according to our list, which nobody has ever seen. You only paid $500, so that's all we're paying you. So there are many drugs that my pharmacy does not carry because he can't afford to keep losing money. And it's thankful to, and I can't remember exactly what they're called. I know what I want to call them, but that's not, there's some kind of pharmacy benefit managers, I think is what they are, which they came up with, and they stuck them in the middle of all of this stuff, and they're the ones that determine how much you pay and how much the pharmacies get paid. Now the big box pharmacies, I'm sorry, I'm on a soapbox, I apologize. The big box pharmacies don't know how much, the individual ones don't know how much they're losing. But because we are independent, we know. And there's a lot of drugs we can't carry because we can't afford it. I say we, I'm not financially invested, but I love working there. Anyway, there's little flyers, there's things on the back table. Please contact Mike Rogers. Tell him to vote for House number 9096. Has been introduced in Congress, Pharmacists Fight Back Act. That they'll get paid properly and you folks won't get overcharged like you are doing now. Please do something about this for my boss. Thank you.
Perfect timing. I want to thank Victoria for this lovely I got to help, but this is her vision, and it was fun working with her. And the Aesthetics Committee would like to welcome anyone who would like to work on designing altars this year. We're going to be creating an aesthetics handbook, so you can read up and see which altars, we generally create special altars for. And I mean, even if you're doing a lay-led service, we could make a special altar for you too, if we have enough time. You gotta let us know in advance. But I just really want to thank Victoria because this is one of the most beautiful altars for the water service that we've had. Thank you.
Yes, and speaking of the altars, what I think really pulled it together is this fabric underneath with the blue T-tails, and I'd love more fabrics, but I am opposed to capitalism. So if anybody has extra fabric they would like to get rid of, especially if it has patterns, I think that would really benefit the altars. And then the second thing is the next game night is on Saturday at 6 o'clock to whenever we're done in the Bush Center. So if you'd like to come play some games, come join us.
Hello, our friends Sam and Rasika are running their community market today from 3 to 7 at the Montessori School. There's going to be music and produce.
Where the Montessori School is?
Oh,
it's across from the JFC.
It's across from the JFC Community Arts Center near the post office.
Andre. No, it's Andre.
Okay, Andre.
Daryl's going to come up in a minute and tell us about the picture we're going to take outside. But also, this is traditionally the day when we do our fire drill. So in order to get us outside for the picture, we will attempt to set off the fire drill, the smoke detector, and so a few instructions about that. We usually try to leave the ramp kitchen entrance open for people who need it to get out. But once you get outside, we want everybody to move to the sidewalk out front. We want to keep this street open because the fire department would be using this street and keep the area immediately around the building free so the fire department can access the building. So we should be on the sidewalk for at least a few moments before we have the picture.
Okay. Right. So after we congregate on the sidewalk, what we're going to do is stretch out from sign to sign. That is our announcement sign to the historic marker. And, congregate on the steps, and then we'll take a photograph of everybody there. If somebody can go over and let the kids know
to come out too. You know, they're usually the stragglers. But we get the kids out there and the teachers and stuff, and we'll be good to go. It won't take very long.
So before we conclude, a couple last things. After the fire drill and the group photo, come back in, get some coffee. Those of you that are interested in talking about an update to the sign outside, we'll meet here and spend a few minutes talking about some ideas for doing that. And we'll figure out how to go from there. Reverend Marty has suggested that our sign could be used more proactively to share our values with the community as either walkers or car drivers pass by. So we're going to do some brainstorming after all the other excitement today. So our closing words, one more announcement.
Sunday services, back again. Next week after the service, the Sunday Services Committee, as well as interested individuals, will be meeting over at the Bush Center with Reverend Marty. We're going to be planning the year. Now it's great, she's 50%, which means that we are in charge of 2 services a month, so we need to get those lined up, and we're going to be doing that. It's going to take more than, half hour, 45 minutes, so we will be supplying lunch. But I need to know if you are coming. I'll be calling some select people, but if you would like to participate, please, let me know so that we can have the right number of sandwiches or salads or whatever, maybe dietary restriction, so that we can do that. So please, if you're interested in the life of the fellowship in terms of having lay-lit services such as this one, please let me know. Also, this is kind of a joy. I want to bring it up. This morning before the service, Misha did her wings. I don't know if you know this, but in the RE building, we have the Roots and Wings wall. When a youth starts coming to the fellowship, they put their little handprints on the bottom, which is their roots. And then when they graduate and go off, in this case, Misha's going to college Wednesday, can you believe it? UAB, right? Then they do wings. And Misha did her wings today, so I have to congratulate her.
Also mentioning next Sunday on behalf of the RE committee, next Sunday is also Sunday, our annual get out for the parents to come and sign your children up for RE, but everybody is welcome to have ice cream or popsicle or whatever you would like, so don't feel left out if you don't have the kids that are in RE. So, thank you.
Thank you. Our closing words are from Ryunosuke Satoru. Individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean. Let's join now in our song benediction, and then we'll commence the fire drill. Go.